another CEE podcast. With us, we have Tony, who has arrived from Jamaica, but it wasn't recently. You have been here for more than 10 years in Poland. And what were your first impressions when you came far up north here in freezing cold in February? It must have been a little bit of a shock.
It was. Hello, thanks for having me. But I loved it. I saw it as something new, an opportunity to learn, to grow. Being here in the cold, managing to stay warm and happy. It's.
Was there 20 centimeters of snow when you arrived?
There wasn't. No. It wasn't that bad. It was maybe later it came, but I remember, it was definitely snowing. It was middle of February, and people were not happy.
Yeah, no, the February, March is a difficult time up in these latitudes here. You have somewhat of excitement in November, December when you're coming into Christmas, but by late February, March, people are quite they've had enough simply, and they're waiting for summer. But soon, summer also came. So how did you notice? How did Poles change in those coming months? Because February is tough, but by late April, people start to live a slightly different life.
Yes, people definitely, the warmer it gets, the more open they become. Let's say so. They, when they start, of course, taking the jackets off. Once the jackets start coming off, the smiles start coming on, type of thing.
What about the social life? Because you came for university. Were there any parties organized early on in February, or it was more that when April, May came around, then the social life really took off?
Parties were going on in February, and definitely there was a lot of house parties and indoor events at people's house and in the clubs. I guess it's the only way, right? If you want to party, it has to be indoor. But of course, the mood does go down. There are less such events during the winter months. But
and what about your first impressions once you were at those house parties that were hosted by Poles? Did you notice any cultural differences in the way that a typical Polish party is?
Yes, definitely. In Poland, when it comes to alcohol consumption, vodka is number one here. So the vodka consumption and how it was consumed. Yes,
it's rarely the mixed drink. There are more shots, so to say.
Yes, so this shot culture, it's something new for me. I haven't experienced it before. Coming from Jamaica and in Brazil, there weren't many shots.
And also, surprisingly, there are a lot of girls that weigh 60, 55 kilos.
Yes.
And sometimes you have a hard time keeping up with them.
This is, one of those phenomena that I am impressed to see. And again, I haven't seen it anywhere else where, as you mentioned, there would be girls drinking shots of vodka and, handling themselves much better than you could ever imagine.
Yeah, sometimes when you run into some American tourists in various places around the world, they get quite affected very early on, but usually here in Poland, people do have some form of foundation, so to say. They are strong competitors.
Yes, maybe they start a little bit younger. Maybe it's in the blood, but their tolerance for vodka is high.
Yes, in the US we see that many really get started at age 21. In Europe, it's probably a little bit more of an all-European thing that many teenagers, they debut, so to say, at 15 or 16 by the latest. But in general, what was also the social dynamics at these parties? Did people speak in a different way, different jokes? Was it easy to adapt to the Polish social life, so to say?
I would say it was, most parties. Let's say everyone is there trying to have a good time. Maybe it's like different music, different types of games being played. But at the end of the day, people there are there to have a good time, and Polish people are very welcoming. So they're as a guest, always felt like I was a part of the party, and definitely always fun events.
And if we look at daytime activities, whether at university or just out in public spaces, traveling on public transport, is there any type of things that you notice that, okay, this is slightly different than both Jamaica and Brazil, where you had spent time before?
Yeah, public transport here in Poland, it's especially in Warsaw, it's really good. You have a combination of metro, trams, a lot of buses that can take you everywhere. It's pretty convenient. Runs on time, reliable. And yeah, the culture inside the metros, yeah, it's very inside the transport in general, very very clean. People are calm. There's no shouting. You don't have to worry about like pickpockets. People are polite. You would always see someone giving the seat to the grandma. So yeah, the Polish public transport here, especially in Warsaw, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, when you mentioned the issue with pickpocketers, there seems to have been quite of an increase in crime in many parts of Western Europe, while in Poland they usually talk about the wild 90s, when after the fall of communism things were a little bit chaotic. But in recent years, Poland has received somewhat of a reputation for being some kind of oasis when it comes to safety. Do you feel this difference compared to Jamaica or Brazil, that crime is maybe less of an issue over here?
Yes, definitely. It is. You have to, let's say, worry less. I would say on the streets you can see that people feel safe. Again, nowhere is perfect, right? There are still neighborhoods even here in Warsaw that who wouldn't advise anyone to go there. But in the sense of general, let's say car break-ins or like pickpockets or just mugging, stabbings, that which are like a big problem in Western Europe. Here, it's not on that scale, and it's not something that you see or encounter on a day-to-day basis.
And after arriving to Poland, naturally you picked Warsaw as your city, but have you traveled around the country? Have you seen a lot of other parts of it as well?
Yes, I've been to the major parts, to the major cities, Krakow, Gdańsk, to all the major ones, let's say.
What about the countryside, the forest of Podlasie by Belarus, or the mountains in the south?
Yes, to Zakopane I have been, but no, not to the forest. Yeah, to Mazury, also the Lake District. Oh yes, this is like probably my favorite part of Poland.
Oh yes,
nice lakes.
The Lake District up by the border with Lithuania and Kaliningrad is truly one of those gems that unfortunately Poland hasn't been great at advertising, and most people, they go either for Warsaw, Gdańsk, maybe some of them go for Krakow naturally as well,
yeah.
the ancient Polish capital. But these parts in eastern Poland seem to be slightly visited less. Have you been there anything at all, and does it feel different than the rest of Poland?
Yes, unfortunately, I have not really visited the eastern part. Maybe to Łuków I went once. It's like just like the furthest east.
A very small place, but this is also something that in Poland seems to be quite different, that you have a couple of these large cities that look very much like Western Europe in any way, and in the smaller parts, in rural areas, you still have that the quality of life has gone up, that modernity has reached those places as well, but there seems to be somewhat of a cultural difference anyway, that people there are slightly different than in the large cities. Is this something you noticed when you were visiting these smaller places?
Yeah, I would say that it's big city compared to small city, right? So here we see that in general the how people from the capital are perceived by those in the smaller cities. There is this element of let's say us versus them type of thing. Yeah, because they don't get as much less of the resources as the big cities, so there is a bit of jealousy, let's say. Right.
Many of them are also moving in, and for example, a city as Warsaw is typically portrayed in other parts of Poland that half of the population has moved here from some smaller village somewhere, and
Yeah, because here it's of course the capital again, where all the opportunities are, where all the investment is. So yeah, people come here naturally to seek a better life. Life in the smaller cities, maybe not so many.
and now after 10 years here, if somebody from Jamaica or from Brazil or any other country would ask you whether you would recommend them to move to Poland if they have such thoughts, would you say that it's a good place to go to?
Absolutely, I would recommend. Not just the natural beauty, not just the warmth of the people, the welcoming nature, but also here on a personal. Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities for you to grow, for you to expand as a person. You know, not just in Poland. Poland has a lot of neighbors. There you can travel, see other cultures.
It's an interesting region to visit. Well, thank you very much for coming on, and we hope to continue discussing these topics in the future.
Thank you.